My name is Marty from Newfoundland Electric Bike, and I'm here with Pete from Motorino to talk a little bit about the rules and regulations in Canada when it comes to e-bikes. You know, at Newfoundland Electric Bike, we've had a lot of people call in with different questions. They wonder what's a scooter versus what's an electric bike. They want to know, do I need insurance? Do I need a license? Do I need to register this thing? Right? They look at some of the electric scooters that we carry, and they think that they're just like a gas scooter, but then when you look closer, you realize that there's big differences. So, can you help us understand what the rules are?
Of course, yeah. There's a set of federal regulations. The first and perhaps most important of which is the speed. Must be governed to 32 kilometers an hour, and that makes a certain amount of sense. I mean, going any faster than that, you'd think you'd require insurance.
And that's a top speed, right?
That is, yes. Now, if you're going downhill, of course, the bike can exceed 32. If you want to use the pedals to exceed 32 kilometers an hour, that also is legal. But the motor can't assist you beyond 32 kilometers an hour.
Sounds fast enough to me.
Yeah, you'll beat the bus most every time. The second regulation is the nominal wattage. You can consume no more than 500 watts nominal draw, and indeed our motor satisfies that qualification. You need to have functional pedals on the bike. It wouldn't count as a bicycle if you couldn't pedal it, and the pedals on all our scooters are functional, if not practical. You also need to have the ability to cut power to the motor immediately upon squeezing the brakes, and that's why all of our scooters, the second you feather the brake, the motor will become a generator and will return power to the battery.
Right.
But you have no danger of having a runaway e-bike, because all you need to do is squeeze the brakes and the motor will be terminated.
So that's really different than, let's say, a motorcycle that would just keep propelling you. As soon as you touch this brake, it just stops all of the power.
That's correct, yes.
That sounds really safe.
It is, and when you compare it to a bicycle and the safety for the rider for a more traditional e-bicycle compared to an e-scooter, the stopping distance, despite the much heavier weight, is actually less, because you have very much more rubber on the road thanks to those tubeless motor scooter tires and hydraulic brakes. So in terms of having someone step out in front of you, you can bring the scooter to a stop in a shorter distance than you could a bicycle. And beyond that, there's much more protection for the rider. We've had several minor accidents that our customers say would have been much more serious if they didn't have some vehicle around them protecting them.
So I guess what you're saying, Pete, is that not only are these things safer than a scooter or a car, but they're also even safer than a pedal bike. And that's why we have different rules and regulations.
Indeed, yeah, and perhaps the government has the regulations they have because they need some control. They don't want machines without insurance doing 100 miles an hour, obviously, but they at the same time want to offer some incentive so that people who otherwise would be on gasoline scooters, those dirty little two-strokes, would be inclined to ride around on electrics because they can save that money on licensing and insurance.
So incentive to not burn fuel, to save your money, and to travel in the safest way possible. I'm Marty from Newfoundland Electric Bike, and this is Pete from Motorino.